Welcome to the D&J Seeds 2021 Winter Agronomy Update number 7. I'm here with our local agronomist, Ryan Underwood. And today we're going to talk through some drone things, drone deploy, aerial imagery, and using drones for different scouting applications from spring to fall.
So I'll go through and start off and talk about what we offer from Pioneer in terms of drone field scouting. So first thing is just free flying pictures and videos. We found this useful as we're out and we're not really looking for something specific, but just want to get an overall idea of maybe what's going on in the field before we step into the field. The second thing, Pioneer has partnered with Drone Deploy, and we have software called Corteva Analytics, which is stand counts and analysis, and Jason will talk about that further as we go through that. The next thing would be with Drone Deploy, a lot of our seed agencies are equipped with Drone Deploy, is doing some live mapping, and I'll describe and go through a map with that. The next thing through Drone Deploy would be the plant health maps, which is NDVI-like images. Basically gives kind of a crop health image or a real granular look at field health and different spots in the fields where something may be happening. Drone Deploy also has a panoramic view flight, which is very useful to kind of give you a overall look at a field within one image. It's really fast, and Jason will talk about that here coming up. As an agronomist and seed agencies, I really like using the drone and utilize the drone quite a bit to take pictures of plots, side-by-sides, split field comparisons for assessing differences, whether that's soybean variety maturity differences, some agronomic traits in corn side-by-sides or in plots. It really gives us a nice assessment tool to be able to characterize our corn and soybean products.
So Corteva Analytics, that's our software with Drone Deploy that allows us to use a drone to fly a grid and take images and actually create stand counts with those images. So the old way, or the traditional way, is just go out and lay down a tape and count plants. This allows us to take a larger number of counts faster and actually more accurately.
I like to use this for with guys to kind of assess their planter performance. You know, are they getting some skips, or are they getting some doubles, or you know, maybe some spots to spot check for emergence, and you know, if you get an area with low emergence, you know, was that in a wetter spot? Kind of gives you a kind of a high level detail of where to go out and do those manual stand counts too.
So one nice thing about this application is we set up, fly the field, come up with the stand count analysis, and then it will print or create a usable PDF that almost instantly that we can save and share with customers, and it gives you a nice breakout of the population, plant spacing, and the number of gaps. So gaps over 6 inches per acre. One of the things I also like to do with this application is so it gives you the nice file or PDF report with all the points in the field, but you can actually look at and zoom in on some of the bare images, and it'll show you where those gaps are. This actually is a field of 94, 92. That's actually a very good initial stand, and you can zoom in and you can see those red dots. Each of those red dot represents where it's actually counting that plant. The reason I like some of these bare images is you can look at if you have spots in the field or certain fields that are maybe struggling with stand counts. You can actually zoom in and look at and try to see what's going on in some of these areas. This field, you know, we have an open seed trench that didn't close. So there could be a seed that was exposed to the air and just didn't take, or that is a sign, and maybe it was the conditions were a little wetter, so maybe they weren't um, as vigorous out of the soil. So it's also a place where I'd think about coming back and digging some roots and seeing if we have any compaction issues, because there's a chance that maybe there's some sidewall compaction in that area of the field.
Yeah, I like to use these images too to kind of see if it's a certain row. Sometimes you get these images and you can see a certain row, is maybe having more gaps versus another one. Or you can zoom in and see, I think Jason's going to talk a little bit about this, but you can see this one has a gap where there's some trash. Was the gap because of the planter or because of the trash or something else? Kind of gives you some ways to start kind of diagnosing maybe why you're getting gaps or where you're seeing lower plant populations. So this is the live map I talked about. This is within the drone deploy software. So basically you can see the background image is just like a Google Earth standard image. And then what it does is you fly a pattern back and forth or up and down depending on how you set it up, gridded similar to how they did the stand count. But then it takes a live image or at the field image, and you like the stand count process. This is something that you get instantaneously. And basically why we take the live map is, if we go to the next screen, Jason, that gives you your NDVI-like plant health imagery through drone deploy. So as an agronomist in a sales agency, first thing I would do is go to the Pioneer Seeds app or use your Granular Insights satellite imagery. That gives you a nice look at maybe some fields, but really using this drone deploy crop health imagery kind of really diagnoses that more at a specific level. So you can see here, this kind of has a clay knob on it, and you can see how that some of that crop health wasn't quite as, the greenness of that plant wasn't up to what the rest of the field was there in this instance.
So this is a snapshot of the 360 field image that's available through Drone Deploy. It's a little hard to look at on a video here, but what this is it allows you to rotate and zoom in on the field in a 360-degree turn. And I really like using this feature towards the end of summer, early fall, to give a really good snapshot or look at kind of where we're at, or more of like a report card. It's pretty quick. You fly the drone up, it goes to one specific spot in the field and takes all the images and flies back. Also a nice feature about this is the images it's shareable. So if I have it saves it on Drone Deploy. So if I save the link, I can share it with people so they can actually pull it up on your smartphone or tablet or computer and look at it through there. But it's really nice for just kind of the end of the year, getting a good grasp on what's going on out in your field, seeing if there's anything that's really sticking out of ordinary, and kind of having some expectations going into fall.
I think one benefit to this too is, when you go up with a drone, if some of you guys have flown drones before, you get a picture and you're looking down at the crop and you don't really know, was that the northwest section of that field or the southeast section of that field? Being able to kind of stitch those photos together kind of gives you a full field look at that, and you kind of orientate yourself. Sometimes you take pictures and you're like, gosh, I don't remember what field this was or where it was in that field. So that's the nice part of that image or that feature as well.
So I also like to do kind of a field checkup. This is a good time of year to do an assessment on actually walking out in the field. So you typically we'll fly this and get the 360 shot, and then go in and do a harvestable ear count, maybe a yield estimate, and look for any like late season disease pressure, weed pressure, any nutrient deficiency starting to show up, and just kind of give the field an overall checkup.
Yeah. So We also use drones to do some plot observations. In this instance, you can see here, there's a few things going on there's one strip, yep, Jason's pointing to it now, where we had some raccoon damage. So we're able to quantify that, kind of do some quality assurance, quality checking on some of our plots. We also have some root lodging going on, so it's kind of nice to have a picture of that to kind of be able to pick out specific hybrids, what hybrids from the sky that we're seeing differences in, and then you go in and really ground truth that by maybe doing some percent lodge type counts or stock lodging type scoring. I think it's a good way to assess plots, good way to assess, overall plot observations. One benefit to the drone is it would take a long time for me to walk headland to headland, side row to side row. I think that being able to put a drone up in the sky before I go out and walk a field really lets me identify where I should be looking versus just kind of hunting for a needle in a haystack. I think that's the great benefit to having a drone. It lets you look at a lot of things and really kind of gives you a directive type scouting ability with this. So.
And when it comes to plots, I think, we really strive to make sure we share and use quality data. And in this case, we had to do there was some good data that could be gleaned from this location, but we just had to do some, we suppressed some data that, wasn't fair to different companies and Pioneer itself, that was just in the wrong place at the right time. So, and understanding that and making sure that the quality of data that we share between ourselves and with our customers is 100% accurate. So with that, I'll just kind of give everybody an update on our drone situation here. So we will have 2 drones and 3 people available to fly them. The one thing with drones, it's a little bit like spraying. You have to have the right weather, and we'll try to get as much done as we can. And we hope to give each one of our Pioneer customers at least a taste of some of the features we can offer with the drones. And then some of our granular agronomy customers will get a little higher level access to it. But if anybody has any questions regarding drones or what we're capable of doing, or if you're curious, please feel free to give me a call, reach out, and we'll come up with a plan for this summer and using drones on your operations. So with that, thank you and have a great day.